New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And hello again, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
Rev D over here.
And this is New Thought today on the New Thought Media Network. We're so grateful that you are with us. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing. You know, we do this every Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. And today our special guest is Reverend Dale Worley, the Senior Minister of Unity of Savannah. And we've had a chance to get to know each other over the last couple of years through the International New Thought Alliance as well. Reverend Dale, welcome to New Thought today.
Thank you. I'm very happy and grateful to be invited to be part of your broadcast today. And I have to say, I love that funky intro y'all got going.
Yeah. Right
yeah, that
on.
was great. So I'm positively inspired to be joining the conversation today.
Yes.
Right on. So I do apologize, folks. I had to take care of a little technical issue here real quick. And I'm back, so I'll give you my full attention. Reverend Dale, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What does our audience need to know before we launch into this great conversation with you here today?
Well, I'm the senior minister at Unity of Savannah, Georgia, a center for spiritual awakening, where we recognize God as life, love, and the ground of all being, and we celebrate God by living fully, loving lavishly, and being all that we can be. We're on the internet at unitysavannah.org. We are known as the Music Center, the Music Church, because we have a fabulous band that I play in every Sunday. So not only am I an ordained Unity minister, I'm also a musician and a singer. I've been playing the piano since I was 8 years old. When I was in high school, I played in a band with my father. We played at a square dance every Saturday night in a little town in Tennessee. So I have been on stage in front of people showing out for a very long time, and I'm still doing that down in Savannah, Georgia. So we have a nice little congregation of about 80 or so people that get together on Sunday mornings. They're very heart-centered. We're a group of mystics. They have a heart to help and to reach out to others in the community. So I just feel really, really blessed to be part of what's going on there. And I just celebrated my 14th year of service to Unity of Savannah. So, and you know, it's great to live on the coast. I'm 15 minutes away from the beach. I can go anytime I want to. The Georgia mountains are gorgeous, and I go up there every chance I get. I just got back from Mentone, Alabama. I spent a week up there in the mountains where I got out just before the snow hit. So it's like a balmy 65 degrees here today in Savannah, and everybody else that I love is sending me pictures of snow in their front yard. So I'm feeling pretty good to be here today. So, and I guess before I moved here, I worked at Unity Village for 5 years. I was the music coordinator for Unity Village. I worked in we called it the Spirit Path, retreat department. So I really got to meet a lot of luminaries in New Thought. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I got to work in the Silent Unity telephone prayer ministry couple nights a week. I worked at the time, the Unity Ministerial School was centered there at Unity Village, and I got to work with the students. So they would put together a chapel service during their each year of going to school there. So I did a lot with the students. I was involved in World Day of Prayer, Martin Luther King Day, all these different really fun and exciting events. So I just feel really blessed to be where I am today and to have all of the great experiences that I've had with people in the New Thought community from all over the world, actually. And so I'm really focused these days on being a spiritual sharer or giver instead of a seeker or a finder. I think I found what I was looking for. And so it's really time to start letting that love flow out from me to other people and help other people learn to live the way that I do, because my life used to suck. Can I just say that? When I was in my 20s, I was a mess. I was a train wreck waiting to happen. And the New Thought principles absolutely 100% turned my life around. I would not be happy and prosperous and joyous and free like I am today if it wasn't for learning, practicing, studying New Thought principles. And there's been so many people in my life that have helped me. I feel like it's my time to be one of the helpers, one of the mentors. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, it sounds like I could say that Reverend D is everything and everything. I mean, you're playing the music, you're doing the prayers, you're giving the talk, you're helping and serving, which I think is a great example of what this movement is about, right? It's about getting some skills, some knowledge, some practices, and then sharing it, not just by word of mouth, but by all things possible. So through the music and through prayer and through being an example. And I think this way of living is more needed now than ever before, because the prevailing society has kind of given people a smaller view of life to operate in, and they don't see it that way. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, the way I got into New Thought was through a 12-step program. And my first sponsor in AA used to tell me that you don't go around breaking your anonymity at the public level. You're just doing what other people normally do, not getting drunk every single day. However, I participated in a program for about 9 months last year. It started in January. It's called Empowering Faith Leaders, an initiative of the Clinton Foundation. And it's about addressing the opioid crisis in our country. And I went through, like, every couple of weeks, 2 hours of online training. And then we were asked to do a project at the end of the 9 months. And there was a little over 20 of us faith leaders from Savannah that participated in this. Wow. We all did projects. So one Sunday we had a recovery Sunday, and an elderly lady from our church that you would never think would have any sort of drug problem. She was in recovery from opioids, and she shared her story publicly for the first time ever. We had a nice meal together that we catered, and then I led a presentation on Narcan, on what it is and how to use it. It's a spray you put up someone's nose if they overdose from an opioid. And at the time that we gave out 50 free doses of this, at the time, you couldn't get it unless you couldn't get it over the counter. And it was like $150 to get a little bottle of this that would save someone's life. So I learned so much about the opioid crisis in our country, that just the wide range of demographics that it affects. And I also learned that by sharing my story publicly, I am helping other people to approach me or someone else to get help. So when I talk about I have 30 years of sobriety next month, I'm celebrating 30 years without a drink or a drug. When I say that out loud in front of people, there may be somebody that's listening to me that is struggling and is very ashamed and feels very guilty. And like you said, Z, feels very small, constricted. Perhaps they've been told they're no good, they're worthless. Maybe somebody from their church has told them that they're a worthless worm of the dust, or a hopeless sinner, or maybe perhaps you're depraved, or, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. So when I stand up and say, hey, you're everything that God is, and if I can do this, you can do it too. Right. I think that's huge. So I've kind of shifted my idea about being public about my recovery. So yeah, it was a great experience going through this program. I learned so much, and I met a lot of other faith leaders in the community. I made connections that I wouldn't have had before. So that had a great impact on me last year.
Yeah, and I love the idea where it was 20 or so faith leaders from different backgrounds who got to come together regardless of their spiritual path, and see that it doesn't matter what your path is. This particular issue is affecting everybody.
Well, when I first was approached about joining this program, they said it was empowering interfaith leaders. And so I asked the young woman who was, one of the coordinators of the group, is this truly interfaith? Because in Savannah, a lot of times when they say interfaith, what they mean is interdenominational.
Yes.
So she says, oh, we have a rabbi that's taking part. We have an imam that's taking part. Someone from the Baha'i community is taking part. And that's when I said, sign me up. Yes. Because I wanted it to be truly interfaith and inclusive. So yeah, I really connected with some different faith leaders, because let me just say, I don't consider myself a Christian. I know that's a really big conversation that we're having in the unity movement today, and I do not identify as a Christian. I feel like our movement is founded on some Christian ideas. Jesus is a teacher, and our purpose statement at Unity of Savannah says we are an inclusive spiritual community. Yeah. So, if you're sitting in our room and you feel like you're ashamed for whatever reason, and you've been shamed by your church, well, you're welcome here. You don't have to be a Christian or a Buddhist or a whatever. Just be a you. How about that? Let's start there.
Exactly. You do you. And Reverend Dale, I love what you're sharing, because yes, so many people overhear what a minister might say and take that as inspiration. And they might also overhear what others say in our communities and take that as a put down, or take that as a limitation, when maybe it wasn't meant that way. Maybe it's a slip of the tongue of somebody. But to be that living demonstration that this is how this philosophy demonstrates itself as me. I got all this knowledge, all this experience, and this is how I get to be me. gives people that permission to be who they really are as well. And part of what I love about the New Thought movement, you do have a fan out here, Tommy, saying "Go Rev."
Hey, Judge Tammy.
Good to see you, Tammy. Thank you for joining us.
Well, and good thing too that approach, Rev D, as you were saying, is I think now there's a if I could say it, there's a stereotypical idea of what a minister is, regardless of the background, right? And a lot of it cast a picture of unapproachable, unrealistic, all these things. They're in a box. And, given where we are now, I think it behooves us as a spiritual community, regardless of background, to make ourselves more approachable, not just in a time of crisis, but in an everyday aspect. And of course, you got to balance everything. But I think, we see a lot of people turning away from religion now, or churches or whatever. And I believe one of the reasons is they don't see the ministers as real, genuine people. They're props almost, right? They do their thing and they go, and you can't touch them, and you got to go through 5 people to get to them. And we're not able to give them the example of, yes, I cry too, I hurt too, I get mad too. So when you have those things, it's not something that you should be ashamed of. This is something that you realize everyone is doing. And now let's figure out from someone who's gotten past this particular thing how we can do that.
Yes, let's figure this out together as a community. Nobody has all the answers, but together we all do have the answer. Yes, absolutely. Because we are all God expressing. And we all have our own little piece.
Yep.
To the highest good unfolding for each of us and for all of us. Absolutely. I agree. 100%.
And of course, as a musician, you understand that better than I do. If you're playing a song and the bass drops out or the drum drops out, well, we got a whole different thing going on than what we had before. And so we look at each person as that kind of impact on the global song. Everybody needs to participate, so we get that authentic, real sound of what God is and how God acts throughout the universe.
Well, it's a complicated business, this human divine thing.
Yeah.
Of trying to be human and divine at the same time. I mean, not trying to be, it's what we are.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I've been focusing on sharing lately is, if something comes up for you, if you're angry, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're just pissed, whatever it is, lean into it, be with it, just like be fully human. And that's how we discover the fullness of our divinity, because if God is in everything, God is in that too. And and I know this from experience, when you dive down into whatever is, up for you, there is a diamond, there's a pearl, there's a gem in it. It's what you are, really. But can you allow that to be revealed? Are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to be uncomfortable with the people who come to you with your stuff? If somebody in your community is upset with you, all right, well, let's talk about that. Let's lean into that and see what's coming up for both of us here. Right. Because, it's all God, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I think we've all probably experienced it. Unfortunately, because of our position and often the titles, people will run away rather than lean in. And it's easier to slip away, to disappear, to not approach the minister, to say, I'm having a hard time with what you're talking about here. Or I'm having a hard time with the way this is going down. So I think you're pointing towards something that's really important. for all of us to learn
Mhm.
about this piece of oneness and of being able to get together and lean into our discomforts and lean into our learning. So before we run out of time in this segment, I know that you recently have gone on a sabbatical and gotten to experience a bit of I would trust inspiration. I know many ministers have said that sabbaticals lead them to new insights, a new sense of their calling, and new vistas, if you will, in where their ministry is happening and where it's going. And so kind of the question I have is, what is more clear to you now, or what is a deeper sense of your listening that you were able to experience during a time away from the pulpit? 17 years in a pulpit, that's a long time. And to take time away and check out, turn off the cell phones, not answer the texts, what was that like for you? What did you get out of that?
Well, there was one morning that I woke up and I felt like something was off. We were staying. I was traveling with two friends of mine. One who is another Unity minister, and we graduated the same class together. Reverend Vicky Vanderhorst is very dear to me. Consider her my sister. Uh, and her husband Joseph, who is a wonderful man, and we had such a good time together. We stayed in uh, Fort Kochi, near Kochi. We flew into Mumbai, went to Kochi, and then took a taxi up to Fort Kochi, and we stayed in a homestay for a couple of weeks. Kind of our home base, because I went to an ashram for a week during that time. But I remember there was a lot of times of just resting. So we would finish our dinner and then we'd just go to our rooms. And there's no televisions, there's not much Wi-Fi or anything. Yeah. And so, I might read a book or go to bed early and then get up the next morning and maybe after lunch take a nap. So one morning I woke up and I felt like, what is up with me? Because I feel weird. This doesn't feel right. And then I just realized I was relaxed. Like I had gotten enough sleep. I wasn't worried or concerned about anything. I was just like, wow, okay. Well, can I bring that back home with me? Can I, can I bring that into ministry? Can I not feel like I have to just constantly be in motion and working 24 hours a day and stuff? So yeah, I've really been working with that a lot and trying to get my rest and disconnect, like you said, Robert. I try to go off by myself at least once a quarter for a couple of days and just turn everything off and go to the mountains or the state park or retreat center and just be with God and be with me and just be with whatever is there. So yeah, the whole thing about taking better care of myself, getting better rest was really up for me. And then it seemed like everywhere I went in India, the Divine Mother was right there, like huge. And I also spent a month in Mexico. I was the minister of residence at Unity of Ajijic, Mexico, near Guadalajara, and Reverend Johannes and Jack Hartog are leading the little church there, and it's at James Twyman's Namaste Village there. So okay. I got to serve and be there, and like everywhere I look, there's the Virgin, Our Lady of Guadalupe. When I'm in India, I'm learning that the pantheon of the Hindu gods all have a consort who's just as important in their ideology as they are. So the mother is still with me now that I'm back in Amma. I went to her ashram. Her name means Mama, or they call her Ma. She's the hugging saint Have you ever heard of her?
Mm-hmm.
She hugs people. It's her darshan. And I got my hug. I got a hug from her on her 70th birthday.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
1,000 people at the ashram. And
Wow.
yeah, it was just so I'm still like feeling the presence of the mother just really, really, really strongly. And how important that balance is, because I think in our Western culture, when we talk about spirituality, sometimes there's a little bit of an imbalance,
Yes.
you know, the
Yes.
father, the son, you know, well, there's also the mother and the daughter and the
Yeah.
sister.
And you know, the interesting point that stuck out for me in that whole thing is the surprise, if you will, of getting back to your true nature, right? Of like, oh wow, I'm not stressed, you know. You know, which is our true nature, right? We should only be stressed when we're in danger, right?
Yes.
Not every day, but I think now most people are in stress except when they sleep. And even when they sleep, if they go to bed with a bunch on their mind, they're even stressful there. And so I love this point that you bring up, because it speaks real clear to establishing spiritual principles and practices, more practice than anything else, based on the principles that allow you as an individual to relax. It's different for everybody. Some people meditation works. Some people meditation, they get up more stressful than when they sat down, because they're trying to accomplish something. So we have to begin to work and find our as they used to say, our sweet spot. And then lean into it so that we can be refreshed and release, at least for some modem of time, this whole idea of, I got this next, that next, oh, I forgot this, that just keeps us in that fight or flight response, and sometimes can act as a barrier of letting the divine come in and be like a conductor or an orchestrator in our lives, and said, okay, yeah, right now it's time to get stressed, okay? But okay, now we're done with that stress thing. Let's get back over here and let's chill out for a bit and enjoy life, you know?
Yeah. And also, see, it's like when I am feeling the stress, can I lean into it instead of struggling with it? Because my old way of thinking is, I shouldn't be feeling this way. What is it that I'm doing wrong? How am I causing this? What am I holding in consciousness that's demonstrating this in my life? And to just be in the moment with it and go, okay, I'm stressed. What does that feel like? Where is it in my body? And I just continue to learn and practice that anytime something unpleasant comes up, my reaction is to struggle with it or fight it. And that just makes things worse. Jesus said, resist not evil. What you resist persists. Yeah. And so can I be with the stress? Yeah. Right? I mean, I don't want to be stressed. Who wants to be stressed?
Right.
I want to be prosperous. Everybody wants to be prosperous. I want to be at peace. But it's unrealistic to think we're going to be in that all the time, because you're right. See, our reptilian brain gets triggered and it keeps us alive.
Yeah.
It keeps us from stepping out in front of a car. Yeah. And falling off the roof when we're trying to get the pine needles off of it, right? But I don't want to live that way. I'm not saying we should set up camp there. And like a long time ago, my first Unity minister told me she had broken her hip. She fell and broke her hip. And I asked her, does it hurt? Are you doing okay? Like, are you in pain? She says, well, I've had a lot of pain, but I haven't suffered. I had no idea what she meant at the time. And now I think I understand. It's like she didn't, my guess is she didn't fight it. Right. Just said, this is where I am. I got a broken hip. It hurts. That's part of being human. But God is still there.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is God is still in it. The peace is still in it. The comfort is still in it. Everything that we're looking for is still there. Like, it's like you can't be just a little bit pregnant. Either you are or you're not, right? So either God is all or God isn't. Like, there, to me, there's no gray area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to jump in here because Z, you said something that caused my head to spark a little bit. And I probably knew this at some point, but it escapes me, or I've forgotten it along the way. And that the stress is there when our life is in danger. The stress is natural and it's necessary, but it's when it's life threatening.
Yeah.
And we trick ourselves into thinking that report from my boss, or the red numbers on the balance sheet, or where is the money going to come from? We have, at least I know, I'm speaking for myself, right? When those fears show up, that's where the stress just can build and build and build. And if we don't have a mechanism, if we don't have our own internal practice, then we snap at our spouse, we yell at the kids, we kick the dog, all those traditional human reactions, rather than being able to lean in and say, okay, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know where the money's coming from. I'm not happy about this. There's a lot going on, and I'm going to lean into that sense of faith and that sense of trust that says, I don't know the way, but there is something out there that does know the way. I don't know the answer, but God, lead me to that answer, and really leaning into our spiritual practices, our faith.
Yeah, and you sparked something, and you and Reverend Dale, I know, will understand this in terms of your relationship to sound. And we talked a little bit about it before we came on air. When you get a high-pitched squeal that comes through a microphone or a speaker, it starts as a very inaudible thing. And then it has a feedback loop that keeps it going, that increases and increases and increases until you hear that sound. That same thing happens in our life. And just the way you said it just made me think about, we have something that's not inaudible, but inaudible in the sense, I need to put some money in the bank so the check can cover, or whatever the case is. But if we get so stuck on the check may bounce, as opposed to let me get the money and I got the money right here, just let me go down there and put it in, I can get rid of it. But that negative feedback loop keeps going and going and going until it's an audible thing now, and now it's worse.
And a good sound man knows and hears it coming. Doesn't know it's coming, but a good sound man hears it coming before you ever do, and takes care of it before the entire band is going, oh, what was that?
You're telling me God is a sound man?
I think so. I think that's what I'm saying. You know what else I'm saying? I'm saying we are way overdue to take a break and let our sponsors say hello, and let some of those people that make this all possible say hello. So we're going to take a quick break, folks, and take a sip of water. Please stick around, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends and family what we're doing. We're going to be back in just under 2 minutes with a whole bunch more with Reverend Dale and the rest of us here on New Thought Today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yes, folks, those of us here at New Thought Media Network are taking a new thought on social media platforms. We invite you to come join our brand new community platform. You head over to our website, ntmedia.org, click on the community button, or just type in community.ntmedia.org. Join up. It's all free, and there's a lot of fun stuff happening over there, so please join us for that. All right, back to New Thought today with our guest, Reverend Dale Worley, and my co-host, Reverend Elzia Sekou. Before the break, we did agree that the sound guy is God. I know I'm sure we've all had at least one sound person in our lives that we would say that to, and we've probably all had more than one that we would not say that to. Think of a couple guys that behind the board don't need to hear that, but that's another story, folks. We'll come back to that another time. For now, what we love to do in the second portion of this, Reverend Dale, is really kind of focus into that future vision, that idea that perhaps is just being birthed within you, or maybe something that you're already working on or aware of, but kind of that idea of where is this new thought philosophy headed? How do we make an impact? What is it important for us to pay attention to as adherents to this new thought philosophy? So what's the future vision? Where's it all going?
I think that question is a little above my pay grade. Can I just say that?
I don't know that I'll buy that, but you can say it. Sure.
I just try to keep up with what's going on in my little corner of the world and add what I can to the mix. Who knows where anything is going? You hear some people talk about, oh, well, the church is dying and blah, blah, all this, that, and the other. And then you hear other people talking about, oh, we've got this exciting new thing coming. It's like it all changes all the time. It's all temporary. So, be in the world and not of it. That's the instruction that we received, right, from the master teacher. So, I'm excited about the things that are happening at Unity of Savannah. I'm also excited about the little ministers group I'm part of. We're called UMOS, Unity Ministers of the Mid-Atlantic States, and we produce a retreat in the fall in the North Carolina mountains every year, which is a wonderful experience for anybody that wants to come. I'm on the board for the International New Thought Alliance, and we're producing a retreat at Unity Village this year in July. There it is. The INTA World Congress is coming to Unity Village in July. And then I'm also part of I got asked to participate in the Fillmore Festival at Unity Village, which is in August. So between all that and being a husband and a father and a brother and a friend, all of that stuff keeps me really busy. So as far as where the New Thought movement is headed, who knows? It's a pretty exciting time to be a part of it. And one thing that I do know is that the principles that we teach and practice and share can absolutely change a person's life, and that we really have something that benefits the world. I talk to people all the time. I was talking to this young woman just this week on Monday. I guess that's yesterday. And she's like, there's got to be more to just getting up in the morning and working all day and then coming home and trying to take care of my son, my young son. Like, there's more than this. I know there is. And I'm like, yes, you're right. There is. And let's talk about that a little bit. So I just feel like I know people very close to me that feel like they're kind of stuck on some kind of little hamster wheel. And we're not meant to live like that. I've come that you should have life and have it abundantly. And part of abundance is joy and peace and satisfaction and harmony and contentment and all those good things that everybody on the planet, regardless of what they look like or where they live, everybody wants that. And we have tools to help people uncover that, to discover the richness that they are, that is just waiting to be revealed. And so I think that idea, that thought right there, which isn't really a new thought, can change the world. But it's not like it's one heart at a time. It's one person at a time. I really believe in like the idea of the 100th monkey, that like sooner or later enough of us are going to be awake, that it shifts the global consciousness. However, I don't think that being awake or being enlightened means that we're not going to encounter challenges and struggles, because it's that divine human thing again. Like in the world, there will be conflict, but I have overcome the world. The I am has overcome the world. The peace I give you, it's not like the world gives. It's because it's in you. It's what you are, And so that basic idea can really shift a person's life. And I'm not saying that because it sounds good or it's a theory. It's because it happened for me. And I see it happening in other people's lives. There is nothing I enjoy more than what they used to tell me in AA, seeing the light come on in somebody's eyes. To be with somebody when they thought that they couldn't do something, and then they did it, and they're like, yeah, you're right, I could do this. And I was like, yeah. And that's not all.
One thing I just heard you really speak to is the fact that you said you didn't know where it was going, but you did describe it, right? It's going to a place where we have to begin to live this stuff in all aspects of our lives. There's no special place or special time that we have to practice these principles or enact these practices in our lives to keep us moving. And I think we in this country, you talked about that human and divine thing. We have tried to separate those things so much that people don't see that they're one thing. They're the inside and the out. They're the heads and the tail of the coin, or whatever metaphor you want to use. And so they get stuck trying to make a juxtaposition to one or the other, and it's a coin. You flip it, and sometimes it's heads and sometimes it's tail, and if you don't like that one, you flip it again. And that's what life is about, I think. And I think you described it in a very succinct way.
Beautiful. All right. So we don't know, but we do know.
Yes.
And that's part of what I love about this show, because if we stick with the question long enough, something always reveals itself. And Reverend Dale, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about some of the retreat work you're doing. So there's the International New Thought Alliance, the 110th Congress, and there is the Unity Ministers Group. When you get invited to retreats, this might be a silly question, but do you like the singing more, or do you like the speaking more? Do you like the presenting and the teaching, or do you like the deeper immersion that happens, I think, with the music? If you could only be one, which would you choose?
There's no way I could choose either one. I mean, music is like it's just what I am, but also I'm so passionate about the teaching that it's like I'm a little kid, like, hey, look what I found, and then I can't shut up talking about it. So I'm very passionate, both as a musician and as as someone sharing new thought ideas. But it all goes hand in hand, and I really love one of my affirmations that I use is I delight in the experience of divine omnipresence, and I delight in the facilitation of the experience of the divine omnipresence. So I seem to have a real gift to do retreat type of work, and I've been doing it for over 20 years now in small and large ways. So there's something that happens, when two or more are gathered in my name, in my consciousness, in my nature, then the I am is there amongst them. So then when we all come together and we all have the intention that we're here for a deeper experience of spirit, a deeper understanding of what we are and what we can do and why we're here, that there's a magic that happens. The vibration is raised, the consciousness is expanded, because we're all setting the same intention together as a group, as a unit, as an organism. So how powerful is that? Z, you were talking about some days like you might sit in meditation and you feel worse than you did before you sat down. But I tell you what, when I'm sitting in meditation, we have a little meditation service at 9 o'clock every Sunday. When I'm sitting in meditation with the 5, 6, 7, 10 people that show up for that, I'm there. Like, it is so powerful. So there's something about being in a group with people that all have the same idea. Let's experience God. Let's experience the truth of what we are. It's just magic, and it's precious. And we're so blessed to be able to have that experience and to share it with other people. And so I always say, man, if you've never been to a New Thought retreat before, like, you need to go. Like, have you never been to Unity Village before? You should go to Unity Village. Every New Thought person should go to Unity Village once in their life, just to feel the energy on the grounds, because people have been praying there for over 125 years. The Daily Word is celebrating 100 years this year. So there's an energy there that comes from constant prayer. It's the same as going to a monastery or a temple or a synagogue or whatever. It's that energy of we're all in a group. We're focused on the same intention of knowing spirit, knowing ourselves, and then it just opens up.
And as a frustrated musician, I when you're saying that, right, I think so, and you've been a virtuoso, if you will. It made me think about, if you're going to a symphony, if you get there and get in your seats before everything happens, everybody's warming up their lips and they're warming up their instrument or whatever, and if you walk in, it sounds like just chaos. But then when the conductor steps up to the podium and and then everybody says, okay, the music is going to be in C, and everybody says, boo, with that one intention, with that one note, that one thing brings it all in. And that's what I just heard you say, is that when we get together and have that same intention, when we come there, we may be in different spaces, but once the conductor, if you will, taps the podium and raises the baton, and they're tuning up and they go through and they do a little scale or whatever they're doing, boom, everybody sinks in. And everybody now on stage and in the audience is ready to be uplifted, to be filled up, to be inspired, or whatever it is that needs to take place in that moment. And so I love that. I love that.
There's nothing like, for me personally, like working with a group of musicians, a group of singers. You're going to, perform at an event, and you do all of this preparation, and then you get there and there's a moment. And I love this moment. It doesn't always happen, but it happens more and more these days, where it just kind of clicks. And like, I'm so present and so available. It is the most beautiful experience. One of the sweetest joys of my life is feeling that, like,
Yes.
where everything just falls. It's just like it all fits.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's just,
Yeah.
it blows my mind. And I get to do that
Mhm.
every Sunday.
What a
People
concept.
invite me to come and do this. It's just like, yes, more please. Thank you, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we focus on grows. Like, let me really focus on this because I love it.
And Tammy's reminding us that sometimes your folks have nothing but music in your service. And
yeah, we
you know,
love to do a music themed service. It just really gets everybody right where we want to be. And, you know, it,
that
yeah,
was
to be able to provide a place that's safe where people can come and just be and not have to, you know, to just be in the groove and the energy and just be with everybody and just kind of let everything go, because we got a lot going on in the world. You know, it's easy to say be in the world and not of it. You know, it's easy to be a new thought guru when everything is going okay in your life, when you don't get the diagnosis or you don't get the note from the bank, right?
Yep.
But our teachings are still powerful and practical, and they work even when the stuff hits the fan, especially when the stuff hits the fan. So I always say, what good is it if you can't use it when everything's going to hell? Like, it's easy to be like, I am whole and complete and God loves me and everybody when everything's going my way, right?
Exactly. I want to say that I fell in love with you that night in Chicago, the first time I saw you as a band leader on stage. And you had at your command not only a repertoire of music, but I could tell the respect, the admiration, and the cooperation of a really talented group of musicians. And it knocked my socks off. So I'm just going to say thank you to that. So I'm a fanboy. I also do recognize we want to say thank you, folks, for the people that make this network possible and allow us to bring you this type of programming. And we still have our final thoughts to do. So let's take a quick break, say thank you to our sponsors and individual donors, and then we'll get back with a little bit more with Reverend Dale and our final thoughts on New Thought Today. Please don't go away. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. So, Rev Dale, it's not often that I get somebody on the program who is the direct sponsor of one of our organizational sponsors. So, on behalf of New Thought Media Network, please take our love and appreciation back to Unity of Savannah. Let them know how appreciative we are of your financial support of what we're doing here on New Thought Media Network.
Absolutely, because I think that this is a divine idea. your success is assured and you cannot fail. The highest good is unfolding for you, for Z, for all of you individually and as an organization. And I'm just happy and grateful I got in on the ground floor of this. So, amen.
Amen.
That's
All right.
all I'm saying.
We will take that. We will take that affirmation and that prayer and run with it. So,
Yes.
And speaking of running with it, we've got just a couple minutes left. Time for our final thoughts. Rev Z.
Yeah, I think, the final thoughts, Reverend Dale just kind of made it crystal clear for me. And I may have said this before, but I feel it more now, is that we have to begin to live this teaching. We have to begin to understand that, that we have been prepared even before we had to come back to the consciousness of new thought for anything that may come our way. And these principles and teaching just rekindle that fire or remind us of who and what we are, human and divine, and that the only way we can be happy is to activate all of it and be able to deal with all of it. And so I appreciate that. And that's what all that, that's all I got to say about that.
All righty, there we go. Reverend Dale, for you, final thoughts.
I'm so grateful to be invited to participate in the program today. I really thank both of you for listening to me because I do get carried away sometimes, but I appreciate the opportunity to share and look forward to the next time. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I would say that some of your fans are loving the chat as well. So thank you, folks, for tuning in and joining us. And yes, we'd love to have you back. And we've got some other shows we'd love to have you be a guest on as well. So we'll be in touch about that, all of that. My final thought about today is, and I think you did speak to it right at the end there, Rev D, and Z reiterated it. Everything possible is absolutely available to us. Whatever it is that we're into, whatever it is that however we want to make a difference, however each individual wants to show up, we have the opportunity and the availability to make that happen for ourselves. And therefore to happen in relationship, in connection with others, with a community. Reverend Dale, you absolutely are a joyous demonstration of how our faith in these principles absolutely must demonstrate as the conditions of our lives. And so, again, I want to thank you for being with us, for sharing these stories, and for being an inspiration within this New Thought movement and the world as a whole.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you. And, I always go back to my 12-step teaching, which taught me that our real purpose is to be of maximum service to God and to others. So I didn't get sober just to be sober. I got sober to help others get sober. Amen. And I didn't wake up to the truth of my being just so I could live a comfortable life. I woke up to the truth of my being so I could help other people wake up to their magnificence as well.
Amen.
Amen. That's a mic drop. We're out of here, folks. Thanks for being with us. Until next time, we'll be back again next Tuesday. Until then, we wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.